Anyway, after a delicious meal at Mary Ann's, we being Michelle's husband of just a few months, they got married in October. His name is Stan, and he's perfect. He's just gay enough to be interesting and straight enough to be, well, he's straight, so that's good. And then we all went to a place. Michelle's like, I want to take you to a place called Marie's Crisis. So we go to Marie's Crisis, and you know, I don't know, I know like when your eyes get excited, how they pop. I don't know what your ears do when they get excited if they pop. But all of a sudden, like we walk in the door, and it's the theme song to Maine. You know, it's like, you da-da-da-da-da off a horn, Maine. You know, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, Maine. You know, and like literally like Michelle and I look at each other, we're just like, yeah, we're so excited. So we go get our drinks and a little bit of information about Marie's Crisis. It's not a large room, but you walk in and there's the bar, or there's the piano, and then around the piano there are 8 seats, just 8 stools, and that's where like obviously like the upper echelon of Marie's Crisis hangs out, and it's got to be only for regulars. And like if Bravo Television ever wanted to do a Real Housewives of Marie's Crisis, the people at the stools, they would be Ramona and Bethany and Luann. Anyway, we get our drinks and we sit at a humble little table in the corner, and the next song that comes on is What I Did for Love. And you know, I'm thinking, you know, isn't 9:15 on a Friday a little early for What I Did for Love? And I look over to the piano player, and I can see from his scowl that he agrees with me. A little note on the piano bar universe, if you're not aware of it. Piano players aren't, sometimes they're a little bitchy. This one, and it's the kind of bitchy that like, they think it's part of their charm, but everybody else is just like, just put a smile on you, just say name for God's sake, you know? What did you say, back off, Dorothy? Was it Tracy?
Yeah, it was me.
Back off, Dorothy? Yeah, back off, Dorothy. Anyway, so, but he starts singing Kiss Today Goodbye, What I Did for Love, and we all start singing. And that is when I remember something about Michelle that I'd forgotten about Michelle. And that is that she has Annie voice. When I'm stuck with a day, that's great, I'm lonely, I stick in my chin, and grin, you know, okay. And not bad at all. Very good. She has a very good voice. She's just loud, you know, and I'm like really embarrassed, you know, and I'd forgotten that she had loud voice, and I look over to her husband, you know, and I'm trying to figure out if he's embarrassed or not, and nothing registers, and I'm thinking, well, that's smart, he's a newlywed, and but I'm not the only one to notice this. Like everybody in the bar, and like especially the people at the you know, ensconced, you know, they turn around and they're trying to figure out what, you know, where this big voice is coming from. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't think it can be a good thing to be the loudest person at a piano bar in the West Village, you know? And, you know, I'm not alone, but I'm thinking I'm not alone. Anyway, so at the end of the song, I lean in and discreetly, or what I think of as discreetly, you know, I whisper to her, I go, Michelle, your voice is so commanding. But maybe you should sing quieter. And she looks me in the eye and she says, Ray, I can't sing quieter. Because this is the girl who introduced herself to Mandy Patinkin at a party that she was catering with, hi, my name is Michelle O'Medlin. So nice to meet you, Mr. Patinkin. I look forward to working with you. This is the girl, and it makes sense now, who had the song, If You Want to Sing Out at her wedding, and it was perfect. And so, you know, it's like, you know, what do you do? And so the next, they start into the Grease songbook, and at some point, stares turned into smiles, and smiles turned into thumbs ups, and somewhere in the middle of a very gender confused summer nights, a man, clearly a regular, comes over to our table, and he says to Michelle, "You're so good. You must sit with us at the piano." And she's like, "Well, there's not room for all three of us." And he's like, "We will make room for all three of you." And so all of a sudden we are, entered into the piano bar, and we go through the entire Grease songbook. We go through the entire Little Shop of Horrors songbook, 2 songs from Pippin, and then we're back at chorus line. And at some point, the older man, he takes Michelle by the arm in that fatherly and yet really gay way that old gay men have. And he looks her in the eye and he says, "What show are you in? You must be in a show." She goes, "I'm not in a show. I'm just a secretary." And he looks her in the eye and he says, "You're going to be on Broadway." And then somebody says, "Sing at the ballet." And, Michelle's one of my oldest friends, and I know At the Ballet is her song. It's not her favorite song. It's like the song about who she is. If you don't know Chorus Line, it's the song where the 3 actresses sing about how ballet came into their life and what it meant to them when they were growing up. And Michelle is Maggie. And, the Maggie sings the part where she was born to save her parents' marriage. And Michelle was born to save her parents' marriage. And instead of dancing around the living room, Michelle performed too, dancing around the living room to get her father's attention. Michelle sang to get her father's attention. And she had to sing loud to get her father's attention. And there was the moment when she was singing, where she sings, and he said, "Maggie, do you want to dance?" And I said, "Daddy, I would love to dance." And thankfully, she has a much better voice than I do, because everybody in the entire place was transfixed. I was transfixed. Her husband was looking at her adoringly. Everybody at the bar. I even saw the piano player wipe a tear away, but I'm sure to this day he would deny it. And the next day, Michelle was like, "I'm sorry, I got kind of carried away. It just happens sometimes." And I said, "Michelle, you were the star of the show." And she said, "Yeah, I know. I don't get that very often." And, sometimes when you with your friends, you just think of your friends as your friends, and you forget that your friends, they moved to New York or they moved to LA, and they moved with these big dreams. And sometimes they happen right away, sometimes they happen in ways they didn't think they would happen, and sometimes maybe they'll never happen, But thank God for piano bars, because that shit don't happen at the Abbey.